Welcome to the Bloomberg Law Bankruptcy Review. I'm Lee Pacchia. I'm joined now, as always, by Bloomberg News columnist Bill Rochelle. Bill, two items today. We're going to start off with a big one. American Airlines is in bankruptcy, and they are the proud new owners of an unsecured creditors committee. What do you make of the committee?
Oh, I think it was a wonderful job by the U.S. trustee in picking the people to serve on the committee.
Bill, I'm surprised to hear you say that. You're usually so critical of the U.S. trustee.
Well, I usually am. Sometimes they seem not to put their brains in gear before they say things, but in this case, I think it was really a masterful job. It looks a bit like the U.S. Congress, where you ain't going to get anything done unless you can bring across some swing votes. Here's the deal. There are on that committee 3 labor unions, and then on the other side, there are 3 indentured trustees. And I suppose if you wanted to say that any 2 groups are in competition for limited resources, it's those. Then in the middle, you have the 3 swing votes. And they are the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corp, which is going to be stuck with some big rejected pensions. You're going to have trade supplier Hewlett-Packard. And finally, you're going to have Boeing Capital, the finance arm of that big aircraft manufacturer. So if anybody's going to get anything done here, those swing votes are going to have to go along with them. From my experience, the creditors committees are usually pretty good about carrying out their fiduciary duties, which means they don't only vote based on what's good for them, but really what's good for the company and the larger creditor body. But I think this is really a neat committee, and I can't wait to see how it functions.
All right. And finally, Donald Trump wants to purchase the Doral resort in Miami. What have you heard with respect to negotiations in this transaction? Does the Donald's reputation precede him, or what?
I love the way you put that. He does have the reputation of being somebody you'd really rather not be across the table from, because he ain't going to cut an easy deal with you. In this case, we're talking about the Doral and 4 other resorts that John Paulson and the Winthrop Realty Trust foreclosed a little bit less than a year ago. And then they immediately put all 5 of them into Chapter 11 so that they in turn would not be foreclosed out by other mezzanine debt. In October, they proudly announced that, guess what? We have Donald Trump going to buy the Doral in Miami for $170 million. Now, I kind of thought something was a little peculiar at the time, because usually when you sign up a buyer like that, you run off to court immediately to set up an auction so you can get the thing closed quicker than you can blink an eye. But in this case, they said, no, well, let's wait a minute. We're not going to set up sale procedures until the time for Mr. Trump to perform financial investigation has concluded, and he's firmly, solidly, once and forever bound by contract. So I said to myself, oh, maybe they're wondering if Mr. Trump is going to stick by the $170 million number. Well, they turn around now just a couple of days ago, and they file the final contract, and guess what? It's no longer $170 million. It's now $150 million. And I want to tell you this, Lee, of all of the things that I'd like to have for a Christmas present, it would be a tape recording of some of the negotiations. I mean, this must have been a classic, with John Paulson on one side and Donald Trump on the other, fighting over what the price is going to be for these hotels. Right. And in part, this is also very interesting to me in a larger sense, because when the Donald said he would buy the hotel for $170 million, they extrapolated from that a conclusion that it meant that all of their hotels together would be worth more than the $1.5 billion of debt. So now I'm kind of wondering whether the slip in the price for what they're selling the Doral for is going to make them have to think twice about whether or not the company is solvent.
All right, real estate in Miami has not been an easy ride for at least, 5 years? Tough times.
5 or 50 or 75, depending upon it. I mean, let's face it, Miami and Florida generally has been a story of boom and bust as long as there has been real estate development in Miami, and that's a long time before you and I were born.
Right, and this is not a boom period, to be sure. So, Bill, thanks for that. We're going to leave it there. If you'd like to learn more about the cases or issues we just discussed, be sure to check out Bill's daily column, available on BloombergLaw.com and also the Bloomberg Terminal, as well as the Bloomberg Law Bankruptcy Report. It's also available on Bloomberg Law and the Bloomberg Terminal. I'm Lee Pacchia. Thanks for watching.